Okay, just a quick note, stay tuned to the end of this video because I have a very cool giveaway worth $7,000. But with that in mind, please enjoy this video.
Whoa, that's a full rainbow. Double rainbow all the way across the sky. Oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god. Woo! Oh!
What is joy? Where does it come from? And because I'm a designer, can you design for joy? Well, let's try answer the first question. A dictionary would define joy as a feeling of great pleasure and happiness, or another way of saying it is an intense, momentary feeling of positive emotion. Regardless of how hard it is to define joy, we have all felt it at one point or another. And if we have all felt joy, then through interviews and surveys, we might stand a chance of answering the second question. Thankfully for me, someone has already done this. Enter Ingrid Fattel-Lee, a Brooklyn-based designer who actually gave a TED Talk on this exact topic.
Where does joy come from? I started asking everyone I knew and even people I just met on the street about the things that brought them joy. And after a few months of this, I noticed that there were certain things that started to come up again and again and again. They were things like cherry blossoms and bubbles and googly eyes and ice cream cones, especially the ones with the sprinkles. And seeing them all together, it gave me this indescribably hopeful feeling. But I still needed to know, what is it about these things that makes them so joyful? I had pictures of them up on my studio wall, and every day I would come in and try to make sense of it. And then one day, something just clicked. I saw all these patterns, round things, pops of bright color, symmetrical shapes, a sense of abundance and multiplicity, a feeling of lightness or elevation. When I saw it this way, I realized that though the feeling of joy is mysterious and elusive, we can access it through tangible physical attributes, or what designers call aesthetics. I began calling them aesthetics of joy.
And now to answer the third question, can you design for joy? Well, if the 5 universal aesthetics of joy are true, then yes you can. So here comes the challenge. Using these aesthetics of joy, I'm going to design a product that is undeniably joyful. Undeniably joyful, people. Oh my god! Enough said, let's begin. So the product that I'm going to design is a plant plot, simply plant plot. Plant pot. So the first thing we've got to do is find inspiration, and the best place to do that is on Pinterest. So Pinterest is the best place to find photo inspiration for literally anything, because what's so good about it, so let's type in something like hot air balloon. Ooh, spell it right, check it. Type in something like hot air balloons, voila, images of hot air balloons. But what's really cool is when you click on it, you're like, oh, that image brings me joy. You can A, save that to your board, like that. But what's really cool about Pinterest is like, it will see that you're liking that, so it will bring up a ton of other images that are similar to it. And by browsing Pinterest like this allows you to quickly come up with a ton of different images that relate to your mood board. Pinterest is the best way to find picture inspiration for any project. Okay, I use Pinterest all the time for inspiration finding. It is perfect. Perfect. So here's just a quick look at my Pinterest board. I'll put a link to it in the description below so you can get an idea of what sort of pictures you should gather. But basically it's just photos of stuff that I find naturally joyful. Then once I had assembled my inspiration, it was time to start ideation sketching. And because it seems to be the number one question I get asked, I am using Sketchbook and I'm using the iPad to sketch on. So for this first stage, it was all about getting the ideas out of my head. So super rough drawing, super quick, and simply about trying to get as many ideas as possible from my head onto paper. In the end, I think I got about 15 different ideas. Some of them were absolutely stupid, and some were kind of cool. Okay, so let's run me through. Number 1. The idea is like sort of hanging balls, and the bottom half of the ball is a light, the top half is a little flower pot. Nice, stylistic. Number 2 is a self-watering flower crown hairband. Weird, joyful, but weird. This one's kind of funny. Just turn a leaky pipe, drill some holes into it, plant some plants, and boom, self-watering plants that for a leaky pipe that you don't use. Boy, is that practical. And now to the one that I think has actually got a bit of legs, that I actually think is kind of a fun idea, and I quite like it. So the idea is that these are going to be sort of like sack-like pots. But the idea behind this is because the pots are kind of soft, they can sort of meld around the area of where they're sitting. They don't have to sit on a flat surface. They can sort of like be pushed into little areas. So the idea is that you can get colour and flowers, pots, anywhere in the house. It doesn't have to be sitting on a flat surface. And what I like about that is that it fulfills several of the aesthetics of joy. Well, I am back in New Zealand to have Christmas with family. Very nice, very nice. Today is all about getting that final rendering done, making it very nice, so we can convey this idea perfectly. So the next step now is I'm gonna do some rough thumbnails to sort of figure out exactly how I want to outlay and explain what these pots can do.
So every sketch I do starts with something really incredibly rough. So here I'm just sort of plotting out how to best show the pot. So I thought showing it was sort of wedged in between two bars was a nice sort of way to show how moldable it could be. Then once you got your rough sketch down, you do a refined sketch over top. Then I decided to cheat. Taking a picture of a potted plant, you just put it into the image, and then turn the opacity down, and then literally just trace what you see. This is a very, very simple way to get an accurate shapes into your drawing without having to think too much. And it works great. I use it all the time. Because at this point I thought, the surface of the pot looks a bit boring, so I decided to add some grooves into the surface itself. Not only does this add interest to the surface, but it also adds these really cool contour lines, which sort of shows how the surface is sculpted. So sort of a 2-for-1, adding interest and showing the shape a bit better. And then just erasing what I didn't want and adding in the new grooves. Voila! Then it was time for colouring. So colouring is really simple. I just trace around like so, then use the paint bucket and fill the whole thing up like so. Whenever you add a new colour or shading, it's always good to put it on a new layer. This is like rule number 1 for digital drawing. Always put everything on a new layer. At this stage I decided to make the grooves green, but then I thought the colour choices was a bit strange, so I decided to play around with different colours for a little bit and set it on a nice blue and a sort of a pinky red. Then added my shadows and my highlights. So my screen recording failed on me, so I'm just going to show you step by step what I did to get the background. Number 1, what I did is I brought in just a photo from online, very simple like that. Then the next step I did after that was I started tracing all of the things I saw in the drawing, very simple. Did some trace lines like so. Then I added my pots into the scene like so. Then I turned off the image and now I have a nice little sketch. Then I decided to add a bit of colour and a bit of shading, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, yeah, it's still a bit flat, it's missing something. So I decided to add a bit of background colour to it like so, and I'm still thinking it's nice, it's better, but it's still a bit flat. So I just add a little bit of shadow just behind the couch like so. And that is how we get the background. It's simply just tracing over an image. It's very effective and very, very simple. My word, is it simple. And thus I give you the gummy pot, the pot that can be put anywhere. It's kind of nice, joyful.
So there we have it. Now of course there's a whole lot more I'd have to work out from just a single drawing. There's drainage and then there's materials and yada yada yada. But the inherent backbone of what this project was all about is, could I design a project that is inherently, undeniably joyful? And I think I did. A little pot that allows you to put plants wherever. It's kind of fun. Little sparks of joy wherever. So it is now Christmas, probably one of the most joyful times of the year. And I know over the Christmas period, it's time to relax, but if you want a little challenge that's not too hard to do and it's actually a lot of fun, I highly recommend doing your own challenge for designing for joy. So what you got to do is just use those 5 aesthetics for joy and draw a product that you think is undeniably joyful. And then tag me on Instagram when you've done those drawings. You can find my Instagram account in the link below. I would love to see what you guys do. Oh, that reminds me of one more thing. The end of video giveaway. in the spirit of Christmas, giving away stuff, fun, I have partnered up with AJ&Smart, they're the company that I did an internship for. They run this incredibly cool masterclass teaching all about the design sprint process, and it's the only class you'll need to take. It is so in depth. It is really, really good. I have personally taken this class, and it is by far the best way to learn the design sprint process. So they have given me 2 of these classes to give away to you guys. Normally the retail value of this is, I don't know the regular figure off the top of my head, a lot of money, but they're giving 2 away for free. So if you guys want to enter this competition, what you gotta do is comment below one thing that you would change about your university degree. If you went to university, it doesn't matter if it's design, engineering, whatever. Tell us one thing that you would like to change about your time at university. What is something you wish you'd learned? What is something you wish was in the curriculum? It could be anything. This is a question I'm kind of asking because I've taken a very different route from university, and I'm always curious about ways that universities could improve. It's an interesting question to get people's feedback. So comment below one thing you would change about your degree at university. Oh, that also reminds me of another thing they asked me to tell you. There is actually also an hour-and-a-half free version, which is like a smaller version of this big class, and that's 100% free. You can find a link to that in the description below as well. So there you go. That's my giveaway to you for Christmas. So Merry Christmas, guys, and I hope you've had a great year, and I will see you next year when things are going to get very crazy. Sprintathon will begin, exciting things will happen, and I literally cannot wait. But Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Adios, and thank you so much for your support this year. It has been one wild ride. Bye.